Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, man. Last week we did the top 3 baits for June, 3 baits to get you thinking about. This week we're doing the Optima batteries, where to start, and it's all about just breaking down a lake, giving you a few places to start on a body of water. And these are tips that you can take and apply to your body of water. You guys stay tuned. Somebody's also going to win a free Optima battery today. All right, so this month we've got really 3 interesting lakes. I have fished one of them, and 2 of them I haven't. And how do I even choose these lakes? Because you guys left a comment last month, and I go down through there and I look at all the comments, and I picked out 3 really interesting ones. So it's going to be kind of exciting. One of the lakes, the first lake we're going to do is a river. It's a place I've never ever been, and this gentleman and this subscriber has left a comment, I think, every month for the last year. Mr. Jones, M. Jones, he always says Bankhead Lake, Warrior River, and man, here it is, Mr. Jones. I am going to try to break this thing down for you. The next lake we're going to do after that one is Alum Creek, and then the last one is going to be one way up north, a beautiful lake, Lake Charlevoix. We had those were the people that sent in on comments, and with that said, all you guys have to do is just leave a comment, and we're going to give an Optima battery away. It's so simple. We'll mail you a certificate in the mail, and you go redeem that wherever you want. And man, they're $300 batteries. I don't know what else to say. Like, all you got to do is just leave me a comment, and I just go down through there randomly picking. So at the end of this video, I have the winner right here wrote down. I'm not going to say it though, because I want you to watch the video to see if you won the video. And at the end of it, we're going to name that winner right there, and you're going to get a free battery. All right, back to the Warrior River in Alabama. This place is long. Looks like the Bankhead Dam on my C-map right here is like the 365.5, 366 mile marker. It looks like this thing goes forever. It's long and narrow. Man, you can go up this one river. It looks like, shoot, forever. That's a bridge. I don't know how far you can go. You can go a long ways, 30, 40 miles. Cool place. Go up this other river, another 30, 40 miles. I have to think, I've never been there, guys. I have to think this place is a spotted bass mecca. I think there'd have to be largemouth here. But I'm going to just show you 3, 4 spots where I would start if I was going to start there. So, looking at it from the big picture here, I'm going to zoom in on it here on my Google Maps just to get another perspective of it. For me, I mean, just the very first spot that I think of when I think of places like this is going all the way down towards the dam. And just because you have a lot of things going in your favor. One, we're talking about June fishing. Fish are going to be deep. They're going to be offshore. Those spots are going to be feeding on current. And when I zoom out right here at the dam and I look at this point right here, and then I see there's a lock over here, and I know what wind does, I know what current does. You're going to have current flooding in and out of this creek. I look at this point, man, this point right here, they're going to be on that point somehow, some way. They're going to be on the end of these tie-up walls, these riprap walls. I mean, to me, it's just super high percentage. I could start throwing a topwater down these walls. I could come crank a big deep diving crankbait. I could run back up in this creek right here. I could throw, if there's a bridge piling underneath this bridge. I can't tell if there is, but I'd have to think those would be good. Man, I look at this point right here. We're going to get into these kind of points a little bit later in this video, but points facing up current, I love that right there. I just got a lot of little spots right here that I could hit in a hurry, and especially anytime somebody locked through that thing, it's going to be a really, really high percentage spot to start. So then as I start going upstream here from the Warrior River, one thing I love this time of year is points that face upstream. And when you zoom in right here, look at this needle point facing upstream. I like that stuff. It's facing into the current. Those fish will sit right out here on the very tip of it, and they're going to be just waiting for that stuff to come. And I love those kind of points right there. Like I seek those no matter where I go those are just super important to me. Here's another one right here. Just a really, really neat upward facing point. So you could just run that pattern. Here's a couple more. One right there, one right there, one right there. Those to me would all be very, very high percentage spots. So one to throw a topwater on early, throw a football jig, and Agent E out there deep would be a great, great bait. That 3/4 ounce chartreuse shad, your favorite deep diving crankbait like a dredger would all work on those kind of points. I really like those. Now, to show you something just a little bit different, let's take it a step further here. I marked this spot right here, and if I was to zoom in on this, to me, there's this bar right here. You've got this bar, shallow wood on it. To me, I love that. I think, man, you could go down through there, throwing a buzzbait on a cloudy day. You could flip those logs for largemouth. But then you're going to have current. Like, you've got current that's going to come down through here, and it's going to wash over this. To me, that's a spot right where that is, where that water washes over that bar. Those fish are going to sit down there deeper and ambush, schools of shad that come over that bar. It'd be a spot I could throw a topwater right in the middle of the day. It's going to be a spot I could throw a deep diving crankbait, a shaky head, those kinds of things. And there's a lot of that, I feel like, on this river. Same thing right here. That current could come around the backside of this island and come out right through there. So if there's a bar right there where think about, like here's the island up out of the water, here's land, and here's this bar, so that current comes through, has to go up and over. Man, those fish will sit right there, and that's just a really high percentage spot in June. I try to find any saddle I can find in any lake. Then I'd run up this thing and I'd fish these bridge pilings. I get excited about seeing those bridge pilings. I'd have to fish those bridge pilings right there. Just lots of really cool spots. So we talked about those forward-facing points, those saddles. I marked one more thing up here. I don't want to spend all day on the Warrior River, man. I could. This is a neat area right here. And why I like this area, I got a saddle here, I got a bar, I've got some shallow water. But what's different about this area, when I zoom out and I look at it, look at how much flatter this place got. I got a flat spawning pocket. Looks like there's some grass in there. I've got a spawning pocket, spawning pocket, spawning pocket, spawning pocket, spawn. Just everywhere. Just going up this creek right here, spawn, 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 spawn. So what that tells me is there's a lot more habitat here for these fish to spawn. And to me, I would get in this zone right here, and I would start thinking I'm going to start catching a lot more largemouth. I'd start fishing these boat docks through here. I've got another set of bridge pilings right here I could fish. I got a bridge right here. Those forward-facing points. Looks like there's one right there in an outside bend that would be good. You just got lots of positive stuff right here. It looks like the name of this creek is Lost Creek. I could get lost in there for days catching big ones, I think. So to me, it looks like a really neat spot to focus, to spend some time. You just got a lot of spawning flats. That's why I chose that. A lot more habitat for those bass. So there's a lot more spots on here. I had a lot of fun looking at that. Man, I appreciate it. Mr. Jones, I thank you for sending that in. That's a cool lake. One of these days, I hope to get over there and fish it. Who knows, maybe we'll have a Major League Cup event. We could burn some fuel because that's a long place, and there'd have to be some big old spotted bass in there. But all right, thanks for leaving that comment. Appreciate it. Next lake, Alum Creek in Ohio. I did not write down the name who posted that, and I'm sorry. I should have, but I didn't. But I've seen that name pop up a bunch also on my YouTube. So let's go over here to Alum Creek, A-L-U-M in Ohio. So when I look at Alum Creek right here on my C map, that's what I've got. I get that asked a lot, like what map am I using? This is C map. It's they've actually got a special that just went on, through the Lowrance that you get it free. With some purchases. You guys be on the lookout for that, but it's just a really cool app. I can really color coordinate everything and put it just like I want it. It's another great one's Navionics. I use both of them. Some lakes are better, some are other. I like the coloring of the C map and how I can really change things and hone it into whatever I'm trying to fish. But okay, when I look back to Alum Lake, just north of Columbus, man, it is the most prime, perfect lake to go back and do that old breaking a lake down like Rick Clunn taught us years ago. You've got a lower third, a mid third, and an upper third. Well, you look at this thing, you got a bridge right here. This is the lower third, this is the mid, and that's the river section. And it's just, it fits it to a T, because when I look at it on Google Earth, man, that lower end is super clear. That mid lake is kind of a little bit more mixing water, and then that river can be clear because it kind of clears up pretty quick. So with that said, there's lots of things here that I don't know, it is a cool lake. Like, there's some really cool offshore points that you can see stick out. Like I've got a really cool little subtle hump right here on my sea map that I think would be really, really neat. You can just see it right there. Long tapering points that come out and drop straight off. I mean, I just really love that for a summertime point. Also in these, when you're looking at these points, like any of these narrow, sharp ones like this that also kind of find one that faces upstream a little bit, or think about the way the wind's blowing. To me, this one kind of shines because you've got to think about, you've got all that water that comes down when it rains or when it blows. It's all the same because it creates current. So it has to funnel through that bridge, which would be a great place to start in June, trust me. There's always going to be current going one way or the other with the wind blowing, but then it comes down and it hits these couple points right here. And if these fish live deep on this lake at all, that little subtle hump right there could be dynamite, like dynamite. Really, really a cool spot, just how that lays in there. And then right here above the bridge, you got this underwater secondary point that you don't really see on the map. Like it's kind of a cool point when I go to look at it. Let's break over here to Google Earth and show you a few spots on Google Earth that I kind of happened to notice when I looked at it. I marked this spot right here up the river. And I don't know that this is accurate on this lake, but I'm going to say this because a lot of people watch these videos and they apply them to the lakes where they're at. So when you look at Google Earth or you look at your maps, some maps show them, some don't on some lakes. I know they show them on the sea map at different times. They don't actually have it on this one. But when you zoom out and you see this cut in the trees, yes, a lot of times that's a power line. I do not see a power line here. I can show you 2 or 3 more down this lake that are power lines. That one right there is obviously a power line. That one right there is a power line. But without it being a power line, it could be a pipeline. And I cannot tell you how many times where those pipelines cross a creek, cross a pocket, there's going to be riprap out in the water that you're not going to see. Like a lot of times it's hidden. This looks really old, like an old pipeline that went across there. There's going to be, a place that water has to come up and over that pipeline. It's just a spot I look for when I get into June and July, especially up in the rivers like that. Those pipelines that cross those bodies of water are just natural, ambush points, natural places for those bass to feed, and it's just a good high percentage spot. So I wanted to show you that. I wanted you guys to think about it. These bridge pilings right here is going to be really good. To me, this looks like it's pretty shallow up here in this upper end. That's actually a power line. That's not a pipeline when I zoom in on it. You can actually see the post going through there. There's a post right there. But if that was a pipeline, I'd be pretty interested. And even with those power lines, a lot of times you can see they rip-wrapped right there. So, it still does have some rocks. But back to studying this lake just a little bit. We talked about the bridge. We talked about those forward-facing points down here. When I look at a lake from a big view, this lake's super straight for the most part. But right here, it has a curve in it. I like sections of a lake that have a curve in it. It just changes everything. I like a section of a lake that has a bigger secondary creek coming in. So I've got both of those right here. And then when I zoom in on it a little bit more, I've got some big offshore points that, to me, I've got a creek here. I've got lots of, spawning habitat. I've got the main river. I feel like it could go down right here at the mouth of this Alum Creek, offshore structure fishing. If this lake sets up that they fish really deep, some of the pictures of the lake looks really clear. It looks like it's actually got some grass in it. So I'm going to fish maybe up shallower here if there's grass on these points. If it's really clear, I'm going to get out here on the tips of these points. But to me, these points right here I just like them. They're just really perfect. I've got 2 more points right here. This one especially that faces, into any kind of north wind, northeast wind that might be coming that direction. I've got another really neat point facing right here. This actually may be an old pond dam or something, or no, it's a hump, 10 foot. But another neat flat point right there that I think you could catch some fish on. You know, same thing right here. Just a couple really good points right here at the mouth of this creek. You know, for me, you know, just to recap this lake, I'm going to fish these points that stick out further going up this lake. I'm really going to focus on that bridge and both sides of that bridge and where this secondary creek comes in. There's some really good flats right there that I think you could break this lake down really quick. Looks like a neat lake, and love to get there sometime and go fish it. So I appreciate you guys sending that in. It was a lot of fun to look at. Kind of different. All right, last but not least, Lake Charlevoix up in northern Michigan. You talk about some pristine and beautiful water to fish. You know, there's a series of lakes all up through there. I've actually been fortunate enough to fish Lake Charlevoix a long time ago. I took a really good friend of mine from Louisiana up there. He flew up and caught the biggest smallmouth of his life. Caught a 6-pound smallmouth, and I will show you exactly where he caught that thing. Let's just start. I got some place markers on here. He caught that smallmouth. This would be a great place to start right here. So what happens with Lake Charlevoix? When I show you guys this, it is connected to Lake Michigan. So when you look at it here on sea maps, you got this monster body of water out here, and then you've got Lake Charlevoix, which is no little bitty body of water, but then you got this canal here that connects them. And anytime the wind blows, anytime, there is current going this way, there's current going that way, it doesn't matter. It's just like super cool the amount of current that goes through this canal. And he caught that great big smallmouth right there on that buoy on a drop shot. It's just, there's not a lot of cover when you get up north in those lakes, and I never, ever pass up any buoys that you see. And it was a monster. I could probably find that picture somewhere on my phone. We also ended up catching a bunch of fish all up and down this channel going out to the lake, especially right here before this bridge. You can see there's, you know, deep water, then it kind of changes, it comes up shallow. We just drifted back and forth, you know, just kind of hopping a tube, hopping a drop shot down through there. But for me in June, especially towards the end of June, you got fish that came into Lake Charlevoix out of the main lake to spawn. They're headed back out to the main lake. You know, they're just going to be there. That's just a neat spot anywhere in this canal. I don't think you could ever go wrong fishing in there. Just a cool lake. A couple other spots I looked at on this map. I just wanted to give you a few more to think about on Lake Charlevoix. You know, when you look at Google Earth or you look at my map right here, you just see this big monster point sticking out right here. Any kind of stuff like that to me is very good. You know, those fish could spawn up here. They're going to summer out off the end of that point. Same thing here. Current's going to be going across it, especially this one, any type of current, you know, wind-driven current. But I like big flat points. Like those smallmouth, they want to see, they want to feed by sight. They want to see a long way. So any of those big, long, flat points like that could be really good. Another one that I saw on here, just to show you another one, was right here. Oh, it's perfectly. You can just see how it sticks way out here. That's just a big spawning flat. Lots of fish would spawn up here. They're going to pull out on these edges. So, you know, don't get so caught up into making real precise casts. You know, one thing with smallmouth, you know, put a moving bait on, a crankbait, a jerkbait, spinner bait, a swim bait, and cover water. Then when you find them, then you can start slowing down, throwing that drop shot, that tube. You know, you guys hear a lot of us talk about drop shotting for smallmouth. That's after we found them. So you've got to find them before you do it. And when you're out on those flats, you don't have time to drop shot and do a lot of that stuff until you find where they're at. So keep that in mind. I really like that canal in Charlevoix. I like those long extended points. Oh, there's one other cool spot I just wanted to show you. When you zoom into the back of this bay right here, and you look right here on Google Earth, you know, I don't know if there's largemouth on this place, but as grassy as this looks, and if it just looks like a cool bay, but look at this boat right here, sunk dead smack in the middle of that thing. I mean, that is a big old boat. I'm sure it's a community spot because that white thing right there is going to be a buoy for people to dive on it. But I bet when they dive down there on that boat, they're probably seeing a lot of fish sitting in and around it. So I would think you could catch some fish coming out from spawning. I just think it'd be a summertime spot. Fish that stay in that lake. I would have to catch some fish off that boat sometime or another. It's kind of cool that you can see it there on Google Earth. That thing's probably 20, 30 foot deep, as clear as that lake is. I have no idea. I didn't fish that. I didn't know it was there because I just now looked at Google Earth looking at this lake. But guys, there it is, man. There's 3 lakes. I hope it helps you. Use these tips to apply them to the lake that you live next to, because I think there's a little things you can pick up in each one of them that'll hopefully help you. All you gotta do is, guys, is just leave a comment, man, and you could be the next Optima battery winner. And this month's winner is Marcus Robinson. Man, I just went through here randomly, and man, this was his comment. Wind has been crazy here on my local lakes in Texas. I fish for fun. 20, 25 mile wind is not fun. I managed to get a few times. Thanks again for the awesome lake breakdowns. Marcus, thanks for leaving that comment, man, and being a subscriber. You've left a ton of comments. I've seen your name a bunch when I go down through there and I look at all that stuff. So Marcus, just send me an email through my website, edwinweavers.com, and I will mail you a battery certificate, $300 value. Yeah, you're going to get a brand new battery, buddy, and I appreciate it. That's all you guys got to do, man. Leave me a comment. You know, it's just a way you can say thank you to me for doing all this. I take a lot of time breaking these down. As I've spent all day looking at these lakes and trying to figure out, you know, some best places, just as if I was going there in a tournament. So by you guys leaving those comments, it helps me, and you get a chance to win a battery. Man, I appreciate everybody following along. Hit that like button. Tell somebody about the channel, and we got some great videos coming up. Next week, you guys be sure you tune in, and we will see you then.